It's crazy because after a decade plus of fans wondering what would happen when all hope was lost, all of the insanity that led up to this very moment of Bleach, Thousand-Year Blood Wars return. It has been one heck of a time, people. It's been one heck of a time, but it finally happened. I just got done seeing the first episode of Bleach's Thousand-Year Blood War anime, and my, oh my. For starters, everything that they promised at the very least with this first episode, they delivered. The art, amazing. The animation, amazing. All around, it was just like, this is how you're gonna start things off. Okay, I see you, Pierrot. Okay, I see you, Shueisha. Okay, of course, I see you, Tite Kubo. I'm not gonna lie, I read this manga literally, I don't even know when these chapters came out. I want to say it started around like 2012, maybe 2011, 2012, somewhere around there, where the Fullbring arc ended and this arc began. And while watching this episode, it was the most strangest balance of nostalgia meets a new experience. Because, right, I read a lot of this stuff in the manga years ago, and I clearly remember some of my reviews where I was talking about like, oh, Ichigo screaming at Eburn to get off the bed, although I don't even know what translations we had at the time because I don't remember his name being Eburn. But either way, it was just like a crazy experience watching this episode from rip, where we start off with the new Shinigamis. I believe it was Ryunosuke and it might have been Shino. My memory is terrible. I just watched the episode too. That's crazy. But we had these new Shinigami, and I think at the time what Tite Kubo was trying to do, similar to what he did, what he attempted with the Fullbring arc, was to give a little bit of a fresh experience, right? Because you're seeing these new Shinigami and you're probably like, what's going on? Who the hell are these characters? It's basically almost a reintroduction to Bleach. Like, hey, here's some new characters so that you could kind of feel like, hey, if you're a first-time watcher, oh, wow, you know, I don't gotta feel like I'm completely lost. These guys are brand new. But it also demonstrates as well who the real heroes are, because even though these dudes just came through, they're getting ready to patrol, they get bodied fairly quickly. And it was kind of, I ain't gonna lie, low-key a little embarrassing for homie, where it was like, dog, you just came through, you're already scared to death, you come to Karakura Town, and with one hit, this dude Ryunosuke is out for the count. I was like, not Ichigo, couldn't be Ichigo, fam. And that introduction scene, I will say that they showed a lot of this episode in trailers. I felt like, oh, another 1,000th time of rewatching some of these scenes, because the trailers had, for starters, the first very big attack with Ichigo and them versus those hollows. Like, all of those moments, Ichigo using Getsuga Tensho, all of it, I've seen them like a bajillion times from the trailers that I've watched and whatnot. So unfortunately, it wasn't the most freshest experience for me, because between like editing and everything, I was like, well, I've seen this a million times, but I still was freaking enjoying it. Ichigo, Orihime, Uryu, Chad. It felt so classic hearing the #1 soundtrack. I was like, this is freaking epic, baby. And you could tell they spared no expense because it looked mighty pretty. Pretty much the first half of the episode, majority was them fighting those, you know, small time hollow. And then the second half of the episode was starting with this whole Eburn on the bed. And I just remember very vividly reviewing that chapter when it came out all those years ago and being like, Ichigo about to whip some tail, dog. Like, you better get off his bed, fam. Eburn, get off of that man's bed. And seeing how it was kind of like a little bit of confusion where Ichigo's like, are you in a wrong car? What do you want with me? Why are you attacking me? And kind of just the setups for the beginning of the Thousand-Year Blood War. But it really kicks into high gear following the scene of those hooded, white, masked up people, where they're basically there attacking the Soul Society, the Seritei, and Genryu's side is like, yo, what's going on with Sasakibe? And that's how you start off with impact. That's why this arc started off, I remember very vividly as well, thinking this is how you showcase that the next threat is not going to be like, you know, anything, a walk in the park. You got one of Yamamoto's key guys, I believe that's his vice captain if I'm not mistaken. You got Sasakibe getting bodied off rip, showing that this is a problem. This is something to very much so worry about, and the mystery intensifies of like, well, who are they? They don't even really give much info. The guy Eburn doesn't give much info despite him going at it with Ichigo, and then those dudes don't give much info either. But something very key to note that also makes it that, oh, this is really going to be bad for us, is the fact that seemingly they have some sort of ability to nullify the Bankai that for whatever reason doesn't work on Ichigo. It clearly worked on Sasakibe. Homie got his goose coosed. Homie got dusted off into the wind, so to speak. But when it came to Ichigo, they couldn't do it. Could be a couple of reasons. Could be that, you know, he's a substitute Soul Reaper, so his Bankai isn't all that, you know, like similar to the other Bankai. Could be that, you know, he's mixed with a couple of different things there. He's not just the typical, you know, Soul Reaper. I mean, for crying out loud, he was just a Fullbringer an arc ago, so could be that. But there's definitely a mystery afoot. And when Genryusai got crazy there and freaking made an explosion with his flames while those dudes dipped out, dudes in the white cloaks and whatnot, or in white suits, very interesting of how epic this thing is gonna get. Honestly, the ending of the episode though, when we see the man himself, dog, I've waited a decade to see this man animated. I thought it would never happen. I gave up hope. I was like, no, it's not gonna happen. And to see the man himself, you watch Juhabak, however the hell you want to pronounce it, because I will say one thing, some of the pronunciations, I believe it was Eburn in particular, where he was speaking in German. I don't know much German. I know Nai, which means no. I know a couple of things, but homie was butchering the German. So that was one thing where I was like, I mean, I get it. Usually when they speak in English too, Japanese sound a little off. It's just like anybody else that is randomly thrusted into speaking lines in different language that they're unfamiliar with. So there was something there to note of like, yeah, those German pronunciations. I'm wondering what the dub is gonna sound like when that gets to that point. That was a quite a butchers of a fest, so to speak. But seeing at the end, you watch, and I'm just so freaking excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so freaking pumped because he looked menacing. He was saying some foreboding stuff. And this is where it all kicks off, fam. This is going to be one hell of a time with Bleach's 1000-Year Blood War. I don't believe we got the opening or ending, or I want to say the ending song, because sometimes, you know, they switch it up. The ending will be the opening. I can't remember if that's the new opening song or not, but they just had like a montage of basically, again, blasting you with nostalgia with clips from the previous, you know, 366 episodes of Bleach. The most iconic moments in that outro piece that they had. That song was really dope as well, and I can't say anything other than that it looked freaking incredible. The episode was incredible. The contents of it was incredible. A decade ago, I was screaming of how amazing this content was, and I'm here again to tell you that this content is amazing times 10 though, because the Bleach anime, it never looked this good. This is better than pretty much majority of the Bleach anime, if not all of the Bleach anime that we've had prior to this. The art and animation, I mean, if you even go back to, you know, the previous arc, right, and you look and you compare, you could definitely see how much anime itself has changed. Granted, there's more CG composites, like some of the hollows you could tell was clear CG, but you could see the difference of what anime looked like back then and what anime looks like now in terms of the best it could do, because I always used to say that Bleach's anime was some of the best looking stuff, especially amongst the big three, that had the best art, that had the best animation. And you see now where we're at in 2022 and still has some freaking incredible, if not 10 times better art and animation. And yeah, kudos to Bleach. Curious what you guys think. How did you feel? For people that read the manga, I gotta be very clear, I want to cater to you guys. For people that have read the manga and waited for this moment, whether it be a decade, 5 years, 3 years, whatever, how did you feel watching this first episode? Do you feel like Studio Pierrot, Shueisha, and everybody involved delivered the highest to their capability? Also, your thoughts and expectations of how this thing is going to play out. For people that are anime onlys, maybe you stopped back in the day because you were like, nah, I'm not reading manga. How did you feel about this first episode? Thoughts and predictions on Eburn, the guy with the giant mustache, you watch, what the hell is going on? How the hell are they stealing Bankais? And your overall thoughts and expectations. I ain't gonna lie, I can't believe it, dog. Bleach, whether you want to call it episode 367, whether you want to call it the 1000-Year Blood War episode 1, it's back, baby. It's back with a vengeance, because from the music to the art to the animation to the story, this was a perfect episode. I don't care. I'm not afraid to say this was a perfect episode in every sorts of form for something that is just starting up, setting up, and also a continuation to a monumental legacy of one of the highest selling manga of all time, one of the most iconic manga of all time, Tite Kubo's Bleach. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Subscribe and hit that bell.